Good evening and welcome to KMTV. I'm Andy Richards. Your top stories tonight. Terror arrest in Rochester. Mystery house search in Dunton Green. And have you ever seen so many tomatoes? But first this evening, a 23-year-old man from Rochester has been arrested on suspicion of terrorism offences. Jem Collins has more.
When you first think of Rochester, it's probably the castle or cathedral that spring to mind. But it's been in the news for a very different reason today, after a 23-year-old was held on suspicion of supporting a banned organisation. Police arrived at a home in the town this morning and a man was taken to a police station in Kent to be questioned. In a statement, Kent Police said the investigation would have very little impact on local residents and added the arrest was pre-planned, not in response to any immediate threat to public safety. It's caused a mixed reaction here from people in the town today, though.
Well, I am surprised, but why is it happening in Rochester now then? I mean, we've never heard of this before.
It's a scary thought. It's a scary thought that people can be radicalised such as that, but it can happen anywhere and will happen anywhere. I'm sure of it.
I think it happens everywhere, really. Like, there's been arrests in Cardiff in a really posh area, so it doesn't really surprise me, but round here especially is going to have people.
It's happening really everywhere and in other countries.
This is Jem Collins in Rochester for KMTV.
Tributes have been left for a popular Hythe Town FC player who died after his car hit a tree in Tenterden. 18-year-old Henry Fulcher lost control of his white Vauxhall Corsa on the Appledore Road at around 6:25 on Tuesday evening. Police, ambulance and fire crews attended, but the teenager who lived in New Romney died at the scene. The home of a former by-election candidate is at the centre of a massive search. Police and army officials raided Mike Barker's property and have been on site for 4 days. It's not known what they're looking for. Graham Stothard has more.
Police, firefighters and army personnel. Not an average few days for this small lane in Dunton Green. They descended on a house on London Road and arrested a man on suspicion of making threats to cause criminal damage and harassment. He's since been bailed. We found out the man arrested was 74-year-old Mike Barker, who ran in the Rochester Strood by-election as Father Christmas. So this is the property in question. As you can see, it's an absolute mess. Police and emergency services have been on the site since Monday. They say it was very much in this state when they arrived. They've been looking through it since then, so 4 days. What for exactly, we don't know. Apparently it's part of an ongoing inquiry. Police continue to enter the house in what appears to be an attempt to sort through piles of rubbish. At one point, even the RSPCA arrived, showing officers how to use traps to catch a cat that's still inside. Fire officials are also at the scene as they're concerned about the structural integrity of the building. This is Graham Stothard for KMTV in Dunton Green.
The government says it will meet the costs of Operation Stack following a bill for the chaos presented by Police Commissioner Anne Barnes. Mrs Barnes said it should not be for Kent Police to pay for what amounted to a national crisis. She says she would be holding the government to its promise to reimburse the full costs of managing Operation Stack. And finally, one man from the Isle of Sheppey has been left stunned due to the enormous size of his tomato plant. Derek Telford thinks he could even have the biggest plant in the UK. Jem Collins went to take a look.
Journey to the bottom of Derek Telford's garden in Sheppey and you'll find much more than your average shrubbery. In fact, he's been cultivating what he thinks could be the UK's largest tomato plant.
You can't explain to people how big it actually is. Bit of a shock isn't the word. No, I've never seen it before, never ever, never ever. And I've never heard of anybody seeing it like this before. Nothing like this, nothing at all like this. You got six plants, it couldn't yield nothing like this.
It's hard to believe this sprawling plant behind me is all just one tomato plant, but as you can see from these yellow flowers here, it's still growing. At more than 10 feet across, it's certainly much bigger than the 6-inch seedling he planted just 3 months ago. Derek says he's done nothing differently to his plant this year, so he's left baffled as to why it's grown quite so big.
I went down to the paper hoping that somebody could help me find out why it's gone like that. I will give a lot of friends and things like that, because as you say, there's no way can you eat all that many. It's just too many. I reckon there's 200-300 fruits there, and still more to come.
But while the great-granddad would like an expert to come and explain why his gigantic crop has got quite so large, he is at least a tomato fan.
Well, that's it from us this evening. We'll see you again soon. Good night.